Hi everyone, my name's Dr. Steve Simpson, and thank you for watching this video and thank you for finding my blogs. As you know, I have become increasingly fascinated by luck, and I'm in the final stages of finishing 2 books on the subject. The first title will probably be Get Lucky Now, and it will be intended for people just like you and me. And the second book is more specialist. It will probably be titled Poker Genius. And whilst it's for poker players, I also hope that other people will read it as well, because there are many, many common threads. These books took me a lot longer to research and write than I planned, but they also turned out to be far more interesting, so I don't mind that it took longer than I intended. The precept of both of these books is that I am firmly convinced that luck is not random. I think there are many logical things that we can do to attract more luck into our lives, and this is what successful people do. I also believe that there are some illogical things as well, which cannot currently be explained by science, and so I call them magic. And it was during this research that I became so interested in coincidence. There have been a lot of coincidences in my life and probably in yours as well. But in my second career, when I became a mind coach, the first client that I saw was a lady golfer who was struggling with her game. Little did I know, or she know, that in the next 3 months she would score not 1, not 2, but 3 holes in 1, which is absolutely incredible. I don't know what the mathematics of that would be. And she didn't stop there. She scored 3 more since, and I suspect that there's more to come. Another coincidence was my introduction to the world of professional poker. To cut a very long story short, in February 2014, I flew to Vancouver in Canada to spend 3 days with Chris Moorman. Now, Chris Moorman had never won a live event, despite being the biggest online winner in history in professional poker. Currently, I think he's won more than $13 million, but he had never won a live event, and in his own words, it was a monkey on his back. Little did I know that just a week or so after I left him in Canada, he went on to win his first live event, but he almost didn't. He was almost busted out on day 1. These are typically 5-day tournaments. And even on day 5, when he had a very good chance of winning, he actually misread a hand. He mistook a 2 for a 3, which meant instead of holding an almost unbeatable hand, he had a hand that was absolutely worthless, and he had bet heavily on it, so had lost a lot of money and had to pretend that it was a bluff and that it had gone wrong, although I'm not sure the other players knew that or not. But he did survive, and he got down to the last 3, and he had a potentially good hand, but it was missing 1 card to make it so. And as he said, it seemed to take the dealer forever to draw the final card. And while this was going on, he was mumbling to himself repeatedly, "Barry Greenstein, Barry Greenstein, Barry Greenstein." And the reason why he was doing this was because Barry Greenstein's a great poker player, but he also wrote a fantastic book about poker called Ace on the River. Now, the river is the last card that is dealt, and Ace is the best card you can get, and that's why it was called it. And that's why Chris was repeating this man's name, because to make his hand almost unbeatable, he needed that ace. And sure enough, it came. So his exhortations were answered, and it made a huge difference for him. He won his first live event. He won over $1 million. And it made a huge difference to me as well, because at that time I knew very little about poker, and little did I know that I'd be spending a lot of my time working in the field of poker. So those are just a couple of examples of why coincidences fascinate me so much. And my research led me to the concepts of synchronicity, which is another word that people use. And I didn't know until then that this word was coined by Carl Jung. Now, Carl Jung was a Swiss psychiatrist. He was a student of Freud's, although they went their separate ways. And he is famous, Carl Jung, for his views on the collective unconscious, as well as other things, because not only was he an eminent psychiatrist and founder of analytical psychotherapy, but he was also a world-renowned expert in anthropology, philosophy, and various religions and spiritual beliefs. Now, he thought that coincidence, or synchronicity as he called it, was not random either, and he explained it by his views on the collective unconscious. So, trying to explain that the best way I can, which isn't very easy, he said that when two events appear to be completely random and not connected, but then happen, that's a synchronicity. And it's not random because we are all bound together by the collective unconscious. That means that all of our thoughts and emotions and values and beliefs are shared with every other person, maybe every other person that's ever lived. Now, that's quite a mouthful to swallow, but it's attracted a lot of supporters, and it certainly is an explanation of kinds for coincidence. Now, I thought this was pretty provocative stuff, and I definitely have spent many, many hours thinking about it since and trying some experiments out based on it. And I've come to a slightly different version of synchronicity because I think there are some biological explanations. They're far from complete. They're definitely only partial possible explanations. But since his time, we know a lot more about DNA, about inheritance, and about evolution. So in my blog, I have written about these things, and I won't try to explain it on camera now, but those of you who are watching on YouTube, I will put a prominent link to my website. So please go to the blog section and you'll see my blog on synchronicity. Read it, digest it, and I would be really fascinated to know your opinions, because if sufficient people are interested in this subject, I guarantee that I will make more videos and more blogs about them. Anyway, that's probably more than enough for today. I hope your headache is not too splitting. I hope that you have a fantastic week, and I hope that you also have a very lucky week. And there will be more from me then. But in the meantime, goodbye, and thanks again for watching.